Good morning to all you visitors who we hope bring useful information to our county commission meeting. It is 10 o'clock on April the 27th. Time for the regular commission meeting in room 300 of Cabell County Courthouse. If you would please stand, we'll begin with a prayer and a pledge.
I think you're a month behind. It's May instead of April.
What?
You said April. It's May.
Is it May?
Yeah.
It says so right there.
Yes.
I thought that it might be May 27th. Let us pray.
Thank you, Lord.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, give us knowledge to know those that good things that go on around us. Give us the blessings that you have so that we can proceed with knowledge and understanding as you would have us to do. May we take up business that is pleasing to you and acceptable in your sight. All this we ask through our Son and your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And in case you wonder why I was stumbling around, I have new hearing aids that hooked to my phone, and my phone was ringing while I was doing that. And I haven't figured out how to turn that off yet either.
You're in trouble.
Before we can approve our agenda for today, we have 3 emergency items that need to be added to the agenda. And if one of you lovely ladies would care to move that we amend the agenda to include those, I guess at the end of the regular agenda.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I move we amend the agenda to include the 3 emergency items.
I will second the motion.
The 3 items that are to be amended concern a courthouse security grant and a justice assistance grant and the opportunity for an executive session. We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have those 3 items added to the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the commission agenda as amended?
So moved.
A second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have next before us, business to get out of the way, the erroneous assessments, land consolidation, split tickets, probate documentation from the county clerk's probate office. Motion
Move to approve.
A second.
been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have to approve purchase orders number 21-103416 through 21-103641. Pay jackets, monthly payments to Fifth Third for fuel card purchases, handwritten checks to Unum for $7,626.25, and to Guardian for $20,486.96.
I move we approve.
I will second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And we have, not surprisingly, citizens registered to speak. We seem to have 9, probably on various subjects. 5-minute time limit. I hope that you'll be able to say and make your point before then and not duplicate what somebody else has said. And the first distinguished gentleman to ask to speak today is Gordon Mary.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to give you all a quick update about the flooding. When we had the flooding in February and the 1st of March, we had our website set up to where people could enter if they had losses. We sent a letter to everyone that applied or gave us the knowledge so that everyone has at least is notified what to do.
Thank you.
That's an email we sent everyone. Then also, this is the area that was affected. This is this information for you all. And the public assistance, the individual assistance guidelines. So if someone would happen to call you, you have the information.
All right.
That's
Thank you.
I'm done, unless you all have questions.
No, I'm glad we were one of the designated counties, so that really
So
helps.
was I. I really was worried that we wouldn't get this.
Thank you.
But wait, there's more. Do we get a Ginsu knife with it or something? Okay.
So the people need to contact FEMA now, the website's there, so that they can apply and hopefully get assistance.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Next gentleman, David Clark with the Cabell County Airport Authority.
Thank you. I'm David Clark, President of Cabell County Airport Board Authority. I received a letter on April the 26th by email addressed to the Cabell County Airport Board Authority regards to Cabell County Airport Board property. Dear Mr. Clark, as the county's negotiation with Robert Newland Airport Incorporated has reached an impasse, the county has instructed me to extend an offer to the Cabell County Airport Board Authority to sell the airport property to the authority for $200,000. That offer will remain open until June 1st, 2021. The county hopes that it can sell the property to the authority to permit its current use to continue. But if it cannot do so, it will explore other alternatives to sell the property, which has been appraised at $590,000, almost 3 times what it was offered to the Robert Newland Airport and is being offered to the authority. If you have any questions, please let me know. Very sincerely yours, Hansel G. Ramey, the attorney for the Cabell County Commission. We had an Airport Board Authority meeting on May the 13th. We subsequently had one on May the 20th to try to come up with some type of a way to raise $200,000 or ideas of how this could continue. We kicked around the idea that if the county commission wants out of the airport business, to deed the airport to the Cabell County Airport Authority. That way, all liabilities away from the county, they would not be paying the $8,000 a year approximately for the insurance they're having to pay. The authority already has a lease with Robert Newland Airport Authority, which is a 30-year lease. We're 15 years into that lease. We've had no problems with it. So we would continue that lease. I have a letter here that the Airport Board Authority approved to give to the commission. Apparently, we have a communication problem between your agent and the commission. Because I asked, there was an offer made by Robert Newland Airport Board Incorporated for $100,000. I asked if that had been approved or rejected by the commission. Mr. Morgan, who is a member of our authority, said not that he knew of. I said that there was an offer made for $120,000. Was that approved or rejected by the Cabell County Commission? He said not that he was aware of. So apparently there's a problem in communication between your agent, Hansel Ramey, and the commission, or the commission just hasn't taken action, and I have no idea which one that may be. But the Airport Board Authority, on May 20th, to the Cabell County Commission, the Airport Authority feels it's the best interest of all parties to continue with the current lease between the commission, the Airport Authority, and Carl Bailey. Although there have been a few small and unknown and at times mistakes with meetings, notices, and etc., these have been corrected and will continue properly into the future. We are willing to discuss between all parties to work towards an agreement for the sale of the property if that is the wishes of the commission. However, there needs to be more reasonable time allowed to attempt to raise money to do so. But again, we must stress there is a legal and binding lease in place. Sincerely, David Clark, Airport Authority Board President. And thank you so much, and I will be presenting that up here.
All righty. The next person is Mark Hessner.
I didn't really expect to talk this morning. I'm just here to represent the pilot for the tri-state area and across the United States, and to support the continuation of Robert O'Neill.
Thank you. The next gentleman seems to be Carl Bailey. I can't quite read that, but I believe he's next up. Carl?
Yes,
You're-
Carl Bailey with the Robert Dillon Airport. As David just said, we tried to communicate, work with the Cabot County Airport, Cabot County Commission, and we have a letter for you, and which I believe David gave you, as well as we have one from the attorney trying to you as well. Hopefully you guys can read that, and we can come to some kind of agreement, some people are going. Again, I don't understand why we're here to begin with. That question is still the answer. Why? We've got 15 years left on the lease. Why are we trying to break it? That's it.
That's it? Thank you. Next person signed up is Danny Arthur. Morning.
I came here today to sort of defend my friend Carl Bailey and read something about his passion and why I think the Cabot County Commission should go ahead and make this sale. I come here today to speak for my long-term friend Carl Bailey. His character, driving passion for aviation and love of his community through business and development. I hope that my comments would add light to who he is and why the Cabot County Commission should do everything in its power to accept his reasonable offer. I believe Carl's offer will continue to provide multiple eatery and entertainment avenues to the county that is suffering from a loss in industry tax base. It would continue to offer valuable and cultural and social opportunities to a county that I learned 3 days ago on World News Tonight is the epicenter of the terrible opioid addiction. First, Carl, he and I go back to 12. I was 16 when we met at Morgan Hill Skating Rink and were skating partners. We were partners and teammates. It was then I realized his passion was going fast, literally, and looking up toward the sky. He told me of his dream of flying. Early on, when I got my driver's license, I took Carl to the Tri-State Airport with a multi-frequency radio, and we would try to receive transmissions of incoming planes just because he loved it. Carl and I competed in many states and relays partner. As I graduated high school, we separated early but continued to stay in touch, both making our way. Him getting his pilot's license and offering to fly down and get me in Virginia. In the 90s, I returned from Virginia to reconnect and work with Carl on many construction projects prior to him starting Classic Builders and Classic Fencing. My passion was music, his flying. Fast forward to 99, he was getting established in his business, opening up Classic Fencing again and Classic Builders. I was entering as a vocational teacher at the Cabot County Career Technology Center. I spent 21 years there. I went to Carl. He jumped on the chance to support the school system. He jumped on the chance to support the school system, job shadowing several students when the opportunity lended itself. Carl always worked to support the community and improve it through his business endeavor. 20 years later, we find ourselves together again through music. His support of Jim Corbett and Robert Keyser, the Bite Right Dental Labs, to provide, to create a festival and provide more family-oriented opportunities. Carl had the venue, the campground, eatery, and a unique entertainment setup at the airport. He combined with them to create the Fly-In Festival, a unique and idea and opportunity to showcase the area through local and professional music, camping, aviation, and family-oriented fun. As well, the idea of providing entertainment in a restaurant area on a newly developed Jimmy McCallum Memorial Stage. Jimmy was a legend and a mentor to both of us and a pilot around here, a long time airplane mechanic. I could go on and on about the positive qualities of Carl. These guys make things happen in a positive way for Cabell County, which in turn help leaders like yourself plan for the county's future and rebound from this prolonged tragic eviction problem. In closing, I would ask the commission, please consider Carl's offer with an open mind towards the long-term future of what continued growth from his establishment can help provide for our county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next is Nathan Parker, who wants to talk about the senior levy grant.
Thank you.
Morning, Nathan.
Appreciate the Cabell County Commission and the job y'all do. I'm here to talk about the senior levy grant for $30,000, which was submitted by Mountain State Center for Independent Living. I'm a board member, but I'm also a consumer that receives services. This grant is for a proposal for iPads and training for Cabell County senior citizens for computer training. And they'll have it's approved, they'll have a class where the seniors can come and learn computer training. So I'm here to talk, would appreciate it if y'all would support that, and it'll help the seniors in Cabell County to learn computer training classes. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Gentleman familiar with the commission, Scott Bias.
Yes, good morning. I have a few points. One kind of came up out of things that have already been said. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think there's been very many meetings of the commission, official meetings addressing this airport authority. And there seems to be a lot of violations of the Sunshine Law and the Ethics Act because there seems to be offers that have not been considered. The $200,000 that was thrown out there, who came up with that number? Because we've asked, was that voted on by the commission? The answer was no. Where's this stuff coming from if you all aren't having meetings and voting on it? So there seems to be a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. You can go into
Thinking
executive
what to talk
session
about
with your
behind the
lawyer,
scenes.
but you have to
Get
do
some
that
flight
from a
loan
meeting.
information.
So there's things going on being talked about that aren't being addressed properly, in my opinion. Now, that goes back to what Mr. Bailey was saying. He made an offer of $100,000, he made an offer of $120,000, and to our knowledge, those have never been brought up and voted on. They've never been addressed. And yet the commission has their attorneys send a letter to the board that we're at an impasse. Well, they've never taken an action on the $100,000 and the $120,000, and I don't believe they took an action on the $200,000, so I don't know how you declare an impasse when you haven't addressed those things in a meeting. Now, to go on, there's money in in hotel motel tax for tourism. And Mr. Bailey brings in a lot of tourism. You all found that out the first meeting you had when there was probably 75 people down here signed up to speak. There's money in hotel motel tax that could be used to help with this. There's also money in economic development that could be used with this. So there's money available that you all could do. You could either lower the price or kick some money into the deal. So there needs to be some true negotiations, and it needs to be open and out front for everybody to see what's going on. And nobody that I know of has ever said why you want to do this. Why do you want to do this? It has not been said plain, clear, here's why we want to do this. So, you know, I think the commission needs to be more forthright and more open about what they're doing and address things in a proper manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Change of pace, Terrell Ellis from Advantage Valley.
I apologize, I signed up, I'm on the agenda, I didn't realize that.
Okay.
You just scratched me off of the public speaking.
William Grimes.
Carl just gave me this. This is a petition with close to 6,000 signatures, and he asked maybe I could give it to someone.
Certainly.
Just briefly, I just came down today. I'm from the area, I've been here all my life, and I'm a pilot. I fly for FedEx. And I learned to fly between Robert Newland and Nona. And this is my granddad. He learned to fly at Robert Newland. This is his logbook from 1936 through 1941. I've got some pictures of him in airplanes, that sort of thing. I've always loved the airport. It's a green space. It's a wonderful place. And Carl's done a terrific job of making it available for not just aviation enthusiasts, but the general public comes down. There's camping, and there's fishing, and boating, and the skydiving. It's a terrific spot. I hope we continue to operate the way it is. It would be a real shame to lose it. Amen.
Thank you. With some hesitation, is there anybody else who would care to speak who is not signed up? If not, then
I would like to say something.
certainly. Let us have your name.
Dan Wilson.
Thank you.
I'm here to support Carl and his efforts at the airport. Being a pilot myself, it was a great resource during my training. Since you have to show proficiency in short, soft field landings, this is one of the only grass strips I'm aware of in this area. Given that we have a new program at Marshall University for pilot training, it would be a great resource for those young pilots learning to fly. And it really kind of galls me that Carl invests all this time and money into this project and improved that place immensely. And to just have it jerked out and under him midstream seems patently unfair. Thank you.
Thank you. I can assure you that each one of the commissioners would like to make a statement, but it's not on our agenda to do that, and we appreciate your all's comments. We welcome you to stay for the rest of the meeting if you'd care to, or move on as you wish. We will continue with the meeting by opening bids for access control systems for the Cabell County Courthouse and the Ona Field Office.
You missed one speaker.
I'm sorry.
Jim,
Oh.
Tom Scar.
Tom Scar, yes.
All I wanted to do is offer, if you commissioners have not each received a copy of the letter sent to us or communicated for yesterday, I have extra copies that we have provided to you. Just want to make sure that the communication is complete.
Do we?
Yes, you have it.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Sarah Bailey. I'm Carl's daughter. I was just want to let y'all know where I grew up. I started at the airport when I was probably 3 or 4 around aviation, and I just think I hope y'all can consider that it's a lot of people's childhood homes, and I've started there, I've continued to stay there, and I grow up. And I just want you to reconsider what you're doing and hopefully we can save our childhood home.
Thank you. Now we'll open bids.
No, there's somebody else.
One more.
Okay.
My name is Laura White. I'm here on behalf of Carl Bailey
as well. Not just for the residents of Cabell County, but the residents of the state of West Virginia and also nationwide have come to enjoy this air park, the restaurant, and the campground as well. I myself enjoyed the campground this past weekend. It has a very large economic impact for this area, and we would love for you to consider, obviously, to keep this place in Carl Benton's hands. He has done very well. I think the community would agree. Everything from a bluegrass festival to benefits that he has held, lots of money goes back into this community to our citizens and to other businesses. So please consider keeping this airport and restaurant and the whole area in Carl's name. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. Open bids.
Okay, the first one is from Pillar Innovations, 239 Carrier Way, Scott Depot, 25560. Their total bid amount, this is for the access control of the card readers on all the doors in the courthouse and the gate and everything. Pillar's bid amount total is $113,774.48. Next one is Alpha Technologies from 4003 Outlook Drive, Tarleton, West Virginia, 25526. Their bid amount total is $84,694.68. They have 2 copies. Next one is for Appalachian Signals and Products, Inc., 5550 State Route 34, Winfield. $25213, and their total is $65,260.13. Next one is AKL Security Solutions, 6218 Gary Drive, Huntington. Their bid amount total is $113,026. So the last one is from Tri-State Electronics, Route 3, Box 110, Milton, West Virginia, 25541. And their bid amount total is $63,752. As you all know, we had a pre-bid meeting, and these folks attended the meeting. It was mandatory, and we took them around courthouse and let them look over everything, and then family court and everything. And Chad actually followed up with several of them afterwards for some follow-up visits and things. So we'll have to go through these and look and see
Thank you.
if they meet the requirements.
All right. We will move on to item number 210527-117. No, we won't. 116. Cabell County Commission update regarding use of masks. You going to have Dr. Kilkenny do that, or are you going to do that? No.
I just pulled the information from the CDC's website that says, has the guidelines if you've been fully vaccinated. And we pulled the exact quote from it: fully vaccinated people can resume activities without wearing a mask or physically distancing, except where required by federal, state, local, tribal, or territorial laws, rules and regulations, including local businesses and workplace guidance. Because that seems to be as clear as we can get it.
At this point, then, it's the suggestion of the commission that masks are not mandatory if persons have been vaccinated, as near as we know.
It's as clear as mud.
Yeah.
I took that quote straight from the CDC's website, so I don't know what. I cannot confirm or deny that.
We still down in security, we've been encouraging everybody, the public that comes in. Most of the personnel in the hallways wear masks, but once they go to their office, if they've been vaccinated, they don't. We haven't had a lot of pushback from people, the public, so far.
I would like to move that we no longer require masks, but that we encourage them to be worn in the courthouse.
Just kind of suggesting.
Okay. That's a motion.
There's a motion.
It's a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded that masks are not mandatory but encouraged. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next we have item 210527-117, presentation by Riley Moore, West Virginia State Treasurer.
I hate to tell you this, but Riley is not here today. He was very sorry he couldn't make it, said he'd love to be on the agenda next month if possible.
We could probably do that.
I thought so.
Next item would be item number 118, the estate of Juanita Foster and Jimmy Foster regarding an emergency petition to set aside grant of administration and to update list of heirs. Mr. Watson.
Mr. President, the deceased Jimmy Lee Foster, his son Christopher Foster had been appointed the fiduciary, but he indicated that he was the only heir. This petition is identifying that there were two sons of his deceased, Joseph Foster and Cody Foster, who are the petitioner here, and they are asking that they in fact be considered heirs as well, and that this matter, because of the issues involved with that, it would be my recommendation that it be referred to a fiduciary commissioner so that he can conduct a hearing and report back to the commission his findings.
Questions of Mr. Watson?
I mean, I am Chris Foster. Could I ask a question?
I think so.
I've lost my son, my mom, my dad, all in a 3-month time period from Thanksgiving to Christmas, February when Dad died. And the coronavirus was involved in all of it. That's why my mom and dad died. My 2 nephews that I've been very transparent with, that I feel like I shouldn't have even had to say anything to, they know every move I've made with my parents' estate. There's no magical $1 million bank account here that these boys want. That for some reason they think there is. But I've been very transparent with them. I've wrote them both checks for $20,000 like my mom asked me to do. I've done everything that I'm supposed to do that my parents asked me to do. I have lived with my parents and taken care of my parents for the last 7 years, every day. Cooked for them, cleaned for them, took them wherever they needed to go, doctor's appointments and everything. And I've known, ever since Joseph has been an adult, I've known this day's coming. I didn't know I'd be standing in front of you guys telling this, but I knew it was coming. I lost my brother 13, 14, 15 years ago. Numbers mean absolutely nothing to me anymore. They've been going through my head so much this year. But, and I love my brother very much. I love these boys very much. I don't know what they're hurting from. I mean, I'm hurting, but to be hurting so bad that they want to bring me down here in front of you all and expose our family and what will we do have? Because that's the only family I got exposed to. And if we are going to have a meeting on the heirs, then there needs to be at least one other name on there. Elena Dawson is also an heir to Jimmy Foster's estate because that's his great-granddaughter, my dead son's daughter. And that's what hurts me. If her name was on there, shoot, I wouldn't even be up here talking to y'all. We just had the meeting and whatever happens, happens. And I asked of their mother, who's also a Cabell County resident, that I only had a brother, blood. She came into my life when I was 14 years old. I consider her a sister. And I called her and asked her, these boys' mother, will you take care of this for me? So at the end of it, I don't care how it turns out, if the law says I get this, they get this, I'll be happy with it. Will you do it? She refused to do it. That got turned into her. I called her, asking her if she would sign checks with my mom and dad's. I've never done anything illegal with my mom and dad's estate or anything else for that matter. And I think I've got till the 15th of June to turn the paperwork in, and I don't care to turn it in the 15th of June. It will be turned in the 15th of June, but that's all I got to say about it. Thank you very much for letting me speak.
Let me ask you this, sir. Are you denying that Dwayne Foster was a son?
No, sir, I'm not, that was my brother, and I loved him very much. And Joseph Foster was in the probate office with me the day the paperwork was filled out, and he agreed to everything that was done in the probate office that day. But now he doesn't agree with it, after he got his $20,000 check and cashed it. I just don't understand why we're here. I really don't understand why we're here.
There's a gentleman in the back. Would you like to speak, sir?
As I understand it,
Can you say who he is?
Yeah,
Drew
name.
Frazier, I filed
name. Who are you?
Drew Frazier, I'm sorry, I filed the petition on behalf of Joey Foster. As I understand it, Christopher Foster went into probate, applied to probate, told him he was an only child. They came back that he apparently had a deceased son. Probate informed him he needed to come back and update the list of heirs. He never did that. Last week when I was in the courthouse for another reason, I noticed that deeds were being recorded where Chris Foster was recording deeds as the sole heir of Juanita Joseph Foster. So at this point, we've got fraudulent deeds that are being transferred as a sole heir. So we really needed to get this before fiduciary commissioner as soon as possible. We're just creating a larger mess with these deeds being transferred fraudulently. So I'd agree with the attorney that we just need to get this before fiduciary commissioner, and we need to get an emergency hearing.
I move that we refer this to a fiduciary commissioner who hopefully can straighten all of it out.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Next on the agenda would be item 119, West Virginia County's Risk Pool Policy Renewal for the year 2021-2022.
Thank you. Yes. Good morning, Commission. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of time to sneak these two videos back here with me as well. Won't take too much of your time. It looks like you guys have been pretty busy so far this morning, so we'll try to be brief. I'm not going to go through any of the specifics. I've got a lot of materials I can leave with that for that. But I did just print out a little bit of information just for each of the commissioners, just an update on the pool, how everything is going, shows you your service team and all that fun stuff in there, because I know we haven't really been around quite as much over the past year. Pool's still in strong financial position. If you take a look at our member map on the back, you'll still see the 50 to 55 counties that participate in the risk pool. One of the big new additions this past year is we've now been able to open up to municipalities as well. So that's been a good thing for the pool in general. Continue to increase the strength and size of the pool, so it's been doing a lot of good things for the state. The reason that we wanted to come in person this year is simply because you're going to see a fairly significant increase on the workers' compensation side of things, and Beth and I have already had a chance to talk through that. But whenever we see an increase like that, we just take the opportunity to talk about it in person so that there's clarity and understanding there. Because the first question we typically get is, well, what's going on there? Are the rates going up? And we're happy to say that our rates are not going up on the workers' compensation side. Actually, we've lowered them since you all have joined the pool, and those have stayed stable again this year. So basically, the driving force behind that and what I wanted to pass out is just a little bit of information that kind of explains how workers' compensation coverage works. And I know this will probably be a review for some of you, but just to reiterate, it's really kind of three components that make up the cost when you're determining the cost of workers' compensation coverage. One is the payroll, which is pretty much set in stone. If you add staff, workers' compensation goes up accordingly, right? The second is just the class codes, and that's not something that we determine. We don't come up with those rates. That's something that's determined by the NCCI and approved by the state. So those are set in stone as well. Your sheriff's deputies, of course, are gonna have a higher rate, having a more dangerous position than somebody working in the clerk's office, for example. And then the third component, and really what's being explained on that sheet there, is the experience modifier. And that's taking a look at your claims experience or your claims history. And essentially what the NCCI has set up as a system is they come up with a figure that they name the expected loss rate, and essentially comparing you to other similar organizations in your industry and size, looking at other county commissions, for example. They determine what they expect the losses to look like, and then that's numerically represented. So if you're right on average, you'd be at a 1.0. If you're beating the industry average by, say, 20%, you'd be at a 0.8. If you're doing a little bit worse than the average bear by, we'll say, 20% or so, you'd be at a 1.2. And that's multiplied out at the end of the formula there. We have, since we've only had your work comp for a couple years, we've actually kept you artificially at a 1.00 and decided just to wait to see what your claims history looked like with just us. So the silver lining there is we've actually held your experience modifier artificially low for the last couple of years. But now that you've been in the pool, for now, this will be kind of the fourth year on the workers' compensation side. We've had those 3 full years of loss history, and so you'll see a pretty significant uptick in your experience modifier. And I just want to make sure that everybody's clear and understands that in no way is a reflection on what the pool is doing rate-wise. That is just what your experience modifier is doing this year. Again, we'll leave those specifics with Beth, and certainly we're available if you have any questions there, but we just want to make sure you understand how that works. And that's not something that we in the risk pool come up with. That is something that if, theoretically, if you went and shopped that with any other carrier in the state, they're going to be using that exact same experience modifier. So that's kind of how that works in a nutshell. The good news, kind of silver lining as well, is not only do we write your coverages and pay your claims, but we do have a risk control department. We've been looking at where those losses are coming from. We've talked about this already, and we're happy to be as involved in the process of trying to control that experience modifier as possible. We've already looked into a couple solutions on that front, so we're hopeful that we can start to bring that experience mod back down to where it's a little bit more manageable, but did want to give you just an understanding so there's not kind of the sticker shock that when you see that increase, that you know where that's coming from. On the flip side, looking at the P&C, that's been really stable. Our auto rates are the same as in the inception of the pool. Same with property, same with crime. And if you actually look at your P&C last year versus this year, very comparable within a couple $1,000s. And actually, you're going to be paying a lot less this year because we've released a dividend. So I think you would have been about within $4,000 of last year's total. With that dividend, you're coming in about $20,000 under what you're paying on the P&C side. So all of the increase that you'll see is coming right out of the workers' compensation. That's really all I wanted to cover for you. I didn't want to take too much time. I'm happy to answer questions or talk about it more. If anybody wants to talk about it, I know you've got a good understanding of how it works in general. We just do this when there's a big increase. So
I did actually have some other thoughts after we talked the last time, but maybe I can set up a call again like we did before.
Sure. Yeah, I know you've got a full agenda today, and this will end up on your desk here. Okay, well that's everything, Vivian. I don't know if you have anything to add to it. Okay, we'll let you get back to it. Thank you. It's great to see everybody. And if you need anything, certainly let us know.
Is our experience rating the one on the sheets you gave out now, 1.5?
No,
Okay.
It's not on there. It's just going to be on the sheet that I get.
Example, okay.
Yeah, that's just a hypothetical example there.
Have there been any cyber attacks that you've covered in West Virginia?
Oh yeah, we're seeing a lot more of that, and that's why I included that. I didn't mention that, but it's a great time to be looking at what you have on the cyber side of things, because we're anticipating that only to continue trending up. We've seen attacks about double every single year, and since the inception of the pandemic, that's probably about quadrupled. It's about 300 to 400% higher than what it's been doing previously to that. So it's a good time to be thinking about it. It's all basically been ransomware and phishing attacks, social engineering, which of course you all have coverage for through the pool, but very, very important to be paying attention to that line coverage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, and we're happy. We can come in and do training. We've done that actually for the assessor's office, doing some cybersecurity, but we could do that for the entire office as well, here within the county. And that's a big component of the risk control side of things. Not only are we trying to help out on the safety side of things, on the workers' compensation side, but we also do have training like the cybersecurity. We've done some HR training here, sexual harassment, discrimination, and things of that nature. So please feel free to reach out if there's anything we can do for you. Of course, as members of the pool, all of that is free of charge. There's no additional fee for anything we come out and do. You just have that as being a member of the pool. We're happy to have you and excited to continue to serve you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next item is item 120, Irv Johnson, Cabell County Assessor, regarding real estate tax book, State of West Virginia 2021.
Is Irv here?
There's that.
Conference.
No?
Let's see what it says.
We shall move on.
For the real estate tax book. The tax book's here, that's
Oh.
the important part.
Yeah.
Well, this is what Irv submitted right here.
We have copies here in our packet.
I move we accept the real estate tax books from Irv Johnson, the assessor.
I will second that.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item 121, a letter from Charles N. Zirkle Jr., Cabell County Sheriff, with a list of real estate and other taxes delinquent for fiscal year 2020.
Unbeknownst to everybody, we thought that last year would be a horrible year in taxes because of the pandemic, but in reality, last year's delinquency was $9,783,000, and this year was $8,773,000. So we collected $1 million more in taxes than we did same time. So we're actually in a lot better shape than what we thought we'd be. And I think must be part of it was the stimulus money or something, but we're $1 million less delinquent than we was last year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zirkle. Any questions? We have a motion to accept his,
I move to accept.
And I'll second.
and all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. You've been sitting there a long time. Next is item 122, presentation by Connie Pretty, Cabell County EMS, regarding QRT, COPS grants, OCOPS, and other things for 2021.
Yes, sir, thank you. I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to me today. I've got just very, very simple, just a short description of what the quick response team is. Some people are very familiar with it and others are not.
You have national TV coverage.
Yes, we did.
Yes, I watched that.
Yeah, did you? So, the Huntington Quick Response Team is an opioid response team. After Cabell County EMS goes on an overdose call, we have a team that goes out and visits individuals, offers resources, offers help. We've been in place since 2017. We are working off 2 federal grants currently. One of the things that we like to say, because it actually shows progress in our, certainly in our county, so we're just thrilled with it, is that we started in December of 2017, and by the end of 2018, we had decreased our ambulance overdose calls by 40%. That gained a lot of national attention, and our overdose calls continue to go down into 19 for a total of 52% decrease. So the team has been had an impact on the resources in our community. We really have worked hard to make connections with families. We very quickly learned that we don't want to just go see individuals that have overdosed. We set up a outside line that people can call in. It's not a hotline, you know, it's not answered 24 hours a day, but family, friends can call and ask for help for their loved one. So that usually moves to the highest priority, and we go see them first because they're actually reaching out to us for help. As Mr. Morgan mentioned, and Ms. Cartwell said, we've had a lot of national publicity over this. I was lucky enough to go to Washington a lot to help develop first responder diversion programs across the country. So literally we get calls from all across the country every single day asking, how does this work in your community? So our thought is you have first responders in the field already, you have police, fire, EMS in the field already dealing with individuals. You need to use those first responders as your first point of contact because they're there every day. So what it brings me to is that in 2020, our federal grants were due to run out. They were a 3-year grant through 2 different agencies, and we managed the money so well during that period of time that we've been working off of a no-cost extension since that point. Just within the last month, the Bureau of Justice Assistance has actually released grant applications. That is the same grant that we're working off of currently, and they have released federal money to continue these types of programs. The Huntington Quick Response Team is actually a mentor site for the Bureau of Justice Assistance. So if you go on their national website, there's only 7 others in the entire country that are considered a mentor site, and we are one of them. So the grant that is currently made available can go through a city, a county, or a state, or a municipality. So truly, honestly, if you look at the website, Cabell County EMS is the lead program, lead agency, that's the way it's listed. However, our grant was through the city of Huntington. That's who applied initially. So my thought was that I wanted to reapply for another grant for a continuation of the quick response team and also an expansion if possible. Before the pandemic hit, of course, the pandemic affected everything, but we were starting to do a lot of more social services, being able to provide some wellness checks and helping people organize their pills and their, little pill organizers and things like that that were very community paramedicine oriented. The pandemic hit, our overdoses did go up, so we've been sort of trying to catch back up. But still, overall, from 2017 until 2020, including that increase that we saw in 2020, we still have about a 45% decrease from our crisis year of 2017. So I really feel like the quick response team is valuable to this community. We are having an impact. Our research partner said, because I asked him, I said, could that have just been a tipping point of any crisis? Any epidemic has a tipping point. It gets so high and comes back down. And he said epidemics have 2 things that affect them. He said death and intervention. And he said we applied an intervention that has had an impact. And he has done that statistically, so we really feel like the quick response team has had an impact on the overall, overdose calls, crime rate, just someone being out there, a touch point for these individuals and families that are certainly hurting and need someone. So what I'm asking for the commission is for a letter of support. It is a 2-step grant, meaning that we have to submit something by June 7th that says we are interested in making an application to them for that grant money. Once that is submitted, then me and my team, and Beth has been very valuable, will submit a full application to the Bureau of Justice Assistance by June 21st. And then, of course, we sit back and wait and hope and pray. But that would continue the quick response team. At this point, the health department has graciously helped us apply and done most of the work, even though we sent everything to them. So a little bit of patchwork funding through the state of West Virginia to sort of keep us going until we can apply for this grant and hopefully receive it. We've had several people be very positive, saying that, you know, they're using you as a mentor site. We really feel very confident that they would approve you again. So I'm looking for a letter of support, just from the commission themselves, that would say that they would be willing to support us making an application for that. So that's it. Unless you have any questions, I'll stand here for a minute.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'd like to thank you for what you do. I think it's important for our community. And looking at the information that you gave for the QRT success rate, in December 7, 2017, there were 105 referrals, and you made about 52 contacts, so that's about half of what was referred, and then 19 went into treatment. And I guess my question is, of those that were contacted, it looks like you were able to make contact with half. Do you think that more teams would be helpful to get more contacts, which means more treatment?
Oh, you've really touched on something there. So our thought in the way we are going to write the grant, and you are absolutely correct, even though those numbers are fairly old, they have stayed pretty true. We generally find about 50, sometimes 60% of the individuals that have overdosed. Of those, we get about 30% into treatment, some type of formalized treatment. So what we were envisioning as our dream plan, and we are going to put this into this new grant for an expansion, is to have a follow-up team. So individuals that we could not find, or maybe individuals that we talked to that weren't ready that day, but we thought, they're pretty ready, then we could continue to go back. Now, our team goes back over and over and over. Sometimes they, you know, bug people, they'll say, golly, you all keep going back. But, you know, if we had that sort of what I call a follow-up team. So we still have that rapid response to an individual who has had an overdose event, or someone who's called. So we have that rapid response, but we also have that follow-up team that can, you know, just go behind them and say, hey, you know, let's continue to look. Let's continue to offer, let's continue to follow once they're in treatment. We've had many individuals that have come full circle. We actually had an individual that was a peer recovery coach for us that had come through our program and then went to work at Prestera and then came back and worked for us. So, you know, it does come full circle. We are seeing positive results.
Are you able to track the data?
Oh, yes, we've got lots and lots of data. Now, one thing we don't have is we don't have that follow-up piece. Once they're referred into a formalized treatment facility, then we do not follow them any longer. That is, they become like a case manager will follow them from that facility. So we don't have that capability because we just, there's only 4 of us. On any given day, there's certainly more people on the team, but any given day, there's only 4.
But if you could
individuals.
expand, you could better track and follow up and have, I think that's the
Absolutely.
missing piece.
And we are definitely writing that into the grant if we're approved. But we do have 4 team members. They rotate constantly, except we have one full-time paramedic that is our team leader. She works for Cabell County EMS. The police officers, the faith leaders, and the treatment providers rotate. We have faith leaders on the team. We have probably around 20 or 25 faith leaders and multi-denominational churches all across the county, and they take all the information they have back to their congregations. It has been, I can't even tell you how valuable that's been and what a support they are now. And we have one of our faith leaders that like knit hats and scarves in the winter to pass out. I mean, it's just, the buy-in has been phenomenal. It really has. So that is it. Welcome for any other questions.
Other questions?
So I thank you, and I would move to approve this letter of support.
I was gonna say, well, surprised, the next item on the agenda, 124, is accept, is 123, is the letter of Cabell County Commission of support for your
You had me at
grant.
hello.
I didn't have to talk that long, did I?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. There you are.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Sorry I talked so long then.
We have, we've sent out requests for bids and accepted bids and looked at everything. And now item number 124 is acceptance on bids for generators for senior centers from McDaniel Electric Incorporated, from the request for proposals dated May 22nd, 2021.
I move that we accept that bid. Did you have anything you'd like to say, Gordon?
I just think it's a great idea.
I've had all kind of comments around the county from the senior community because we're just beginning to find out about it.
I think it'll pay dividends at a later date, there's no doubt it will.
Absolutely.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next item would be item 125, resolution Cabell County Commission for employment of Matthew Bryant Parham as per diem EMT and reclassification of Raven McMullen as full-time EMT.
So moved.
A second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item 126 is approval of the Cabell County Commission of the Cabell CCERC 911 budget request, which we have in our mailboxes, I know.
You want to say anything, Mike?
Commissioner, this is just our normal operating budget. It's due to you guys today. We've managed this year to come in on about 2% lower than we did last year as a full operating budget. Our revenues are pretty consistent. The wire lines continue to go, the landlines continue to go down, the wireless continues to go up. So we feel pretty stable, and we're trying to put money aside so that we can handle the new projects as they come up and the technological changes. And that's all. If you have any questions, I'm glad to answer.
I just have a question. I know it's not on the agenda for the mapping and addressing, but it's in the budget report. Is that going along nicely?
Yes, ma'am. We finally got the Salt Rock stuff information to the post office, the address manager, and we're waiting. This first one, as we discussed, has been interesting to say the least. The post office is a little bit of a delay, but as soon as we get this one completely finished, the rest of the zip code should go quite well and on time. But yeah, we've got Salt Rock completed, other than they haven't been able to send the information directly to the people yet. We're waiting on that until the post office gives us a yes. Federal government.
Thank you. I move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item is approved. Item 127 is approval of Cabell County Commission for CCEMS 2021-22 budget request, ambulance 2021-22 budget request, civil defense 2021-22 budget request, Porter's Knob Road Fund 2021-22 budget request.
I'll answer any questions.
I bet everybody wonders what Porter's Knob Road Fund
Well,
is.
we'll go into that. When we built the tower, I had AT&T decided to go on the tower, and they paid rent. And we also paid the land owner a rent. And then we have a fund to repair the road, which is approximately 2 miles up to the tower. And that's what that fund's for. And it comes out of the money we generate from AT&T.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Questions? Motion? Anybody gonna move that? I'll
I'm gonna move it.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item 128 is a resolution of the Cabell County Commission for reappointment of David Amsberry to the Cabell County Public Library Board of Directors.
I would move to approve that.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passed. Item 129 is a resolution, Cabell County Commission, of appointment of Marcia Moses to the Cabell County Public Library Board of Directors.
I would move to appoint her as well. Might be nice to say she's taken the place, or somebody's taken the place, I guess it would be her, of Jeanette Rousey, who is moving away, so she had to resign. The other one is a reappointment of David.
Correct.
A second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed. Item number 130 is approval of the Cabell County Commission regarding Livability Media Advantage Valley new initiative partnering with HADCO. Now it's your turn.
Is it okay to approach?
Sure.
Good morning. Thank you for taking some time to have me. Appreciate it. I thought that for those of you who may not be as familiar with who we are at Advantage Valley, if I could take 2 minutes to just explain what we do and why our partnership with HADCO is so important.
Thank you.
We're an organization that was formed a number of years ago by the leaders in the Charleston and Huntington MSA. So the point of Advantage Valley is to promote the region as a combination of the Charleston and Huntington areas, because most businesses that are looking to locate are looking at assets in terms of sites, workforce, transportation, education and training assets. They're looking at it in a regional sense, in a 50-mile radius. So, and when we promote the region, we can promote a population of nearly 600,000 people with universities and a lot more assets than if we're just promoting one community. And when you're trying to compete, not only just on the national stage, but on the global stage, trying to recruit companies to come here, those assets stand out a lot better. So we were initially formed as a marketing organization. But in the recent past, I will tell you, federal resources are looking to have a regional impact. And so they like it when they can get proposals that are impacting a population area of 600,000 as opposed to one community. So in the recent past, we have actually represented Advantage Valley in pulling down federal resources for business retention and also for entrepreneurship. And so we partner very closely with organizations like HADCO at the county level. And many of you may know Adam Phillips, the Bruce at HADCO. We fund Adam's position, and he's done a tremendous job really helping, HADCO has in general, but I mean, Adam is really stellar. And we're operating under a 3-year grant. That grant's getting ready to expire. We have applied for an additional grant of $1.3 million through federal EDA. And that grant, we expect it to be approved in June so that we can continue the great services that Adam provides to our existing businesses. And we're also going to be ramping up the technical support that we're providing to our existing businesses. And one of the things I wanted to point out to you all, there is an annual report in here for Advantage Valley. And if you turn to, it's the third page, I'm sorry if this is in printing right now, so I have to, this page that has this little chart here talks about our impact on existing businesses. So the 3 retention reps that we fund in the region collectively have supported improving over 300 businesses. We have metrics that define that, and helping to facilitate expansion of 148 new jobs. And so we feel, so that's been kind of a place where we've been able to fill a gap and bring in some funds to provide those retention services. And then the other thing is that we did receive about $1.4 million to support entrepreneurship in the region, and our results for our first year of the Faster West Virginia program is in that annual report. So we're partnering locally with Unlimited Future, which is a micro enterprise development. We support a business coach. We have the only dedicated loan fund for the region for the small new businesses that are starting up. So, you know, there's other things that we do, but I just wanted to point out to you, marketing was kind of our initial mission. But as things have evolved over time, we've stepped up to innovate a little bit and try to pull down those federal funds that are to have a regional impact. So one of our, under our marketing, one of our initiatives is this livability publication. If Dave Living were here today, he would tell you that it's difficult many times for our corporations that are recruiting executives, recruiting any kind of talent. Their trailing spouse, their family, they don't understand what they're coming to, they don't understand the region very well, or the communities, and we have never had a publication like this that really speaks to all the assets in the region. So this gets used a lot. This is a 3-year initiative for us. We've published year 1, we're going into year 2. Year 2 is being under development now. It will have Huntington on the cover, so we're trying to, we're trying to split the region in equally. And it is being used not so much to help recruit companies here, because this isn't the kind of material that companies need. They want more specific data on sites and workforce. We have a little bit of that in here. But what we use this for is talent attraction. Our hospitals are using it as they're trying to recruit physicians to come here. We're using it for, Advantage Valley uses it extensively for the articles. This is in a digital format, and we publish through social media a lot of the articles. And we have had about 500,000 hits through social media on the content, and nationally, there are 4 landing pages for the communities in the region, and there have been about 180,000 hits on those landing pages collectively. So last year, you all did advertise with us. You did a 1/3 of a page ad and a digital ad. We very much appreciate that you did that. It's because of your support that we're able to publish the magazine. We don't have to pay to do this. It's the support of the community that allows us to have the content, and so we're very grateful for that. All of our advertisers, I think except for one, are renewing this year. In fact, our advertising rate has increased over last year. Everybody's been really pleased with the coverage that we've been getting. We're learning as we go. There's some things we're going to change about this year a little bit. Like, we're going to feature some of our smaller communities, like Barboursville. And Barboursville's doing a brand story. He's really excited. The mayor is very excited about doing that. But anyways, we're gonna change it up a little bit, and each year we're learning. So I'm here to ask for your support for this year to renew the advertising. I'll try to answer any questions I have. I'm not the technical person on the advertising side of things. I can talk to you about how we use it and how important it is to us. And Matt McWhorter, I think, who Commissioner, I think you met with Matt, respect to him. He would be the person that could talk a little bit more on the technical side about advertising.
And if I may, I did speak with Matt on this renewal process, and I was asking, how many hits that the Cabell County ad had received, and it was eye-opening, the people that actually looked into our website. But the thing that really intrigued me the most, I think, was the fact that he was saying that, and he showed me, we had a Zoom meeting, and he could show me, walk me through it, that when you basically type in Cabell County or Huntington, West Virginia, what comes up? Opioid lawsuits or opioid or drug overdoses. And so when he typed in, move to Huntington, West Virginia, or move to Cabell County, and this livability pops up.
It's the very first thing.
It's the very first thing, and that was, I think that that's a positive thing for our community, because we've, in order to recruit people and attract people here and grow Cabell County, we have to tell our story, and unfortunately it's been negative a lot of times. So I think that that's one of the things that I like the most, that the dialogue is changing for our community, and it's less than a $4,000 investment. So I think that being a partner with, from here to Charleston, I think that it tells the story of our, collective community and how we can try to recruit families and companies here.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up because it's a really important point. The other point that I would make to support sort of what you're saying is that when I go out and call on companies and talk to them about locations in West Virginia, locating here in the Advantage Valley region, they say, oh yeah, I have a friend that lives in Roanoke. And I was like, well, I said, no, that's Western Virginia, not West Virginia. We either have a negative image or no image at all. And so this really helps us. We rank number 4 on livability on Google searches for move to, Advantage Valley. We're the 4th ranked site that's being hit.
And now, since COVID and a lot of people are working from home, and that may continue, they're leaving places like California, New York, and they're going to other places. South Dakota's increasing a lot of their, population, and we're losing population. We're losing a congressional member. So I think that we've got to think outside the box, be innovative, and partner with other people, and tell our story here in Cabell County. And I would enthusiastically make a motion to support this expenditure and renewal of our last year's ad. Yeah.
Does Huntington, the city of Huntington, support the?
Yes, Huntington, Hadco, Cabell County Schools, Barbersville, I'm trying to think, Marshall University, Mountain Health Network, all of them are advertising with us. City of Charleston area line, so on the other end of the valley, we're getting support from Cabell County Schools. That was interesting. Cabell County Schools was interested in working with us to have a story done about the VOTEC or the purchase of the Sears building, I guess that they're doing, and all of the great innovation involved in that. So we want to feature things like that tell a really great story about how we're innovating and how our workforce is being well trained. RCBI's participating with us.
Yeah, I made the motion.
I would like to ask you to let that lie over till our next meeting, because I want to ask some other folks in the community their thoughts on it.
Well, the only thing is there is a deadline for this, and we're the last holdout to approve of this this project. So it would greatly be detrimental to the. We're actually holding it up, from my understanding. So, but it's less than a $4,000 expenditure.
Yeah.
And it's something we did last year.
Do you mind if we wait 2 weeks? Yes, you mind. Does it,
this is a Matt question. I don't know what it does to our advertising deadline. So I can ask him if that's doable, and if there's an issue, I'll get back to you. Or I'll get back to you one way or another.
okay. Is that all right with you? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Next item then is item 131, Special Fund Budget Revision Number 1, concerning Special Fund 29, Fire and Economic Development.
As the sheriff mentioned earlier, we haven't been hurting as bad as we thought, and actually our collections, our distribution into the levies was a little more this time, and if you remember, I had to increase the library amount in the last meeting, so this is actually increasing what the fire departments are getting by $1,500 apiece.
I think when we did that levy, because I was on the commission when we worked with the fire departments to get that levy passed, it was like $30,000, 32 or something like that. So that is a huge increase over the years, because we're up to 56.8. So we're like hitting close to $60,000. And the money not only goes to the volunteer fire departments, it also goes to the fire school, and it also goes to the city of Huntington to help with their fire departments. So that's 9 entities that we actually give that much money to out of that levy. It's been successful.
I take it you move the revision then?
Oh, if I need to, sure.
I guess we do, don't we?
Yes.
Need a motion to do that. There's second?
Second.
Been moved and we'll do our best to help you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The next item is also a Justice Assistance Grant, deadline June 1, 2021, in the matter of resolution authorizing the President of the Commission to submit a grant application to the West Virginia Division of Justice and Community Service for a fiscal year 2021 Justice Assistant Grant funding in the amount of $50,000.
That's our Jack grant.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Passes. Next item on the agenda is the opportunity for an executive session.
I move we go into executive session to discuss lawsuits.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We will meet in this room, those session where no action was taken, no votes were taken, no decisions were made. And the item before us now is minutes to be recorded. Culloden Public Service District Special Board Meeting on March the 11th, 2021, and Culloden PSD Regular Board Meeting on March 17th, 2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We'll record those. Do the commissioners have any representation reports for the good and welfare of Cabell County? If not, we will sign the papers and adjourn.
Sounds good to me.